The college football experience, Auburn Tigers 2023 season preview episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Networks, brought to you by Edge Boost. Edge Boost enables you to double your bet with no interest. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge to get started today. And remember, folks, as always, to let it ride.
This is Mike Leach, head football coach at Mississippi State, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Yes, yes, yes. Woo! Welcome to the college football experience. Auburn Tigers 2023 season preview. We got a lot to talk about. I mean, there's just one of the more unknowns of college football, probably heading into 2023. Is the Auburn Tigers, and we will be talking all about it. If you're wondering just who the hell you're listening to, well, my name is Colby Swinging Database Dan, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I smoke and I drink and I don't have stress and I'm healthy.
And you're nothing but a chameleon, lemon-headed, coward, terrorist pussy. And I'm after you, buddy. You're going to pay for it. Good night.
Sir, please stop talking. We're just getting started here, though, on the college football experience. The Auburn Tigers. You know, I got a soft spot in my heart for the Auburn Tigers.
Yeah, they're a fun team.
Love their uniforms.
Beautiful.
I should be wearing my Damian Craig jersey that's in the other room,
Slacking.
but I forgot.
I'm going to bring it out in a minute.
You should.
All right.
You should. Look, if you're wondering just who the hell you're listening to besides me, give it up for my co-host here, former JMU Duke defensive back, the burrito eating, sideline kiss stealing, wheeling and dealing, Patty C in the place to be.
Hi-oh.
Let's give you some of that Tecmo Super Bowl. You can't think of Tecmo Super Bowl without Bo Jackson.
You talk to the people while I go get that
Yeah.
Craig jersey.
You can't talk about Tecmo Super Bowl without Bo Jackson, who is a legendary Auburn Tiger. And look, Auburn is it's just one of the greatest uniforms in college football. I love the fan base. And, there's a lot. You can't find it. Can't find the guy. Either way, he tried. I have a Damian Craig jersey somewhere.
We got lights out in the closet. I'm scared of the dark. I'm not going in there.
Somewhere in the studio, I have a Damian Craig jersey because I was a huge fan. NC Nick, who's not with us on this very episode, but he was an Auburn fan in that era. And Patty C, let's talk about that for a second before we dive into what's going on here with this 2023 roster and the coaching turnover and the roster turnover. Let's just talk a little bit about the disrespect, because the way that I look at this, we love college football. We talk college football year round. We are super passionate about the sport, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think this team's won a ton of national championships that they haven't been credited for personally. I mean, the way I see it, they have won a slew of national championships. 11 that I'm counting. How much do they claim?
How many do they? I believe it's only 2, right?
They should be claiming 11.
Yeah. They had 7 perfect seasons. Not undefeated. Perfect. All wins.
I'm a bit baffled about, obviously they didn't claim the one in 04, which I'm still confused about. Right?
Yeah, they're just taking the nonsense that the media.
There's just so many questionable national championships over history
Yeah.
I don't understand why they're not like theirs is actually, they had an undefeated season. They had another one. You go back and look in the 80s. I don't understand why they're not a national champion in say 1983, because the team that won the national championship, the Miami Hurricanes, they got to play the national championship in the great city of Miami, but they lost to Florida that year by 25. Well, Auburn beat Florida.
By what? 2 scores, right?
Yeah. And hold on, let me pull that up to make sure I'm 100% accurate. Auburn beat Florida by 7, 28-21.
Okay.
Now here's where it gets tricky, is that Miami's one loss was by 25 points, right? To the University of Florida, who Auburn beat. Auburn's one loss, and by the way, Florida finished number 16. Auburn's one loss was to number 3 Texas, and they only lost by 13. So they lost by less. They beat the same team that they play, like the similar opponent here.
Yeah.
Why are they not national champions? They didn't play Miami, so they were deprived that.
What it comes down to is Miami was simply, despite being ranked lower, given the opportunity to play the higher ranked team in the bowl game. They were given the opportunity to play Nebraska in the bowl game, and they played them not in the home city, right?
Yeah,
they played them in their home campus, on campus stadium in the Orange Bowl.
I am just very confused. And then, believe it or not, if you go back to 1972, I'm a bit confused as well. I don't get. Okay, Miami did beat Mississippi State by what, 24, right, that year. I'm assuming Auburn did not beat. They won by 23, right? Or no. I'm sorry, that's Florida. Hang on. Auburn beat Mississippi State by 15. So you have that, I guess. But either way, Auburn, they still won. They didn't lose to the same team. This team has more national championships. There's fool's gold. We love college football, but God,
you know what's crazy is it seems like about every 10 years or so they get screwed. Right?
It's accurate.
It was 57 and 58 that they went undefeated back-to-back years. 19-0-1 during those 2 years. They didn't get a national championship in either of those.
Well, which year you said?
57 and 58.
No, I don't believe so.
Okay, so then the next time they really deserved it was 72. So that was a 15-year stretch. 72, then 83, then 93 they go undefeated. Yes. Then 2004 they go undefeated, and then really 2013 they went to the national championship and lost on the last 30-second play. Now it's 2023. The 10-year time frame is back.
Maybe this is the year.
Are they going to jump back up?
They have a lot of national championships that they need to claim. All right, because you look back at throughout history and you'll see some very questionable national championships. All over, scattered through the sport. So might as well claim it. Look, before we get to talking about this year's team, let's get paid. I want to tell you that the college football experience, Auburn Tigers 2023 season previews, brought to you by Edge Boost. Yes, Edge Boost is the world's first bet now, pay later Visa card. Edge currently offers up to $2,500 in betting advances, which can be an extremely valuable tool in life. Patty C, maybe you're just betting and you say, I lost that bet, but I know Auburn's going to beat Alabama.
I want to get back in the game.
I want to bet on the Iron Bowl, and maybe you already deposited some money. You don't want wifey saying, "Hey, well, what is this transaction here?" All right, well, you do the old kick six, play action fake over here. And you'll be able to bet a little bit more money. And look, you can get down your favorite futures. You can do whatever. Maybe a favorite bet you like. Maybe you want to middle something, hedge something, even though that's just completely gross. We don't really believe in that here at SGPN. But here's the thing: Edge Boost isn't some sleazy loan shark. All right, that's going to be waiting for you to come out the pool hall and beat you down with a
Billy Club.
Yeah, Billy Club. Good old Billy Club. Poor Billy. Look. Edge Boost, they don't charge any interest, 0 interest. So that is awesome. And support SGPN and grow your bankroll by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge to sign up. But once again, that's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge. Must be 21 years or older. Problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Patty C, let's get into it because, well, I do have a soft spot for Auburn. I really do. Kind of thought they were a little evil to Brian Harsin, but trying to look past it.
No, that Auburn is undoubtedly an evil program in the aspects that they'll do anything to win. You know,
I can respect that.
I can respect that. They are fighting an uphill battle. They got Georgia right next door. They got Alabama right next.
And I know Harsin was recruiting terrible, but I kind of love this play. They go out and they get Hugh Strip Club Freeze, baby.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Not only is he a legend, he also coached from a fucking hospital bed. He will do what it takes.
That's right. He's an Auburn kind of guy.
He will do what it takes to get the dubs, and he's got a decent track record against old Saban. Remember, some magic there. Look, when he was at Ole Miss, he was 39-25 in a 5-year stretch. He was at Arkansas State for 1 year prior to that in Jonesboro, where he went 10-3, and then he was with the Flamin' Libs of Liberty, where he was 34-15.
Taking an Auburn quarterback and
Malik Willis,
putting him to use,
putting him in the NFL. You like that hire? I like that hire because I think this guy, from a scheming point of view, is really good. I think he's a really sharp mind.
Yeah,
he gets guys open. Now he hires offense coordinator Philip Montgomery, most recently the Tulsa head coach, who was like 2 years removed of an AAC championship run.
Yeah,
I mean, as far as going to the championship game back when they had Zaven Collins, I think he's a good coach. Besides Freeze, I think Philip Montgomery is a good coach. I don't know that he deserved to lose his job at Tulsa.
Yeah, he was doing all right. He was doing pretty well most of the time.
I mean, you got to remember, Tulsa was scheduling like at Ohio State, at Oklahoma State, at Oklahoma. You know, like
not
come on,
giving themselves any breaks.
Played for the AAC championship just a couple years ago. I'm kind of bullish on that.
Probably should have won the AAC championship over Cincinnati.
Cincinnati ducked them like a bunch of cowards.
Yeah.
Right. Came up with some COVID nonsense.
Yeah.
But it's really hard in modern day college football. We've been doing this for a long time. It only gets harder and harder because of the portal. It's really hard to forecast this. So Auburn is bringing back 2 starters from a year ago on offense. This offense a year ago under Brian Harsin, which obviously I think will be better under Hugh Freeze, because I believe Hugh Freeze is a better offensive coach. 86th scoring offense a year ago, 18th rushing offense, 118th in passing offense. What are they running the option? Auburn 72nd in total offense a year ago. They bring back guard Cam Stutz and quarterback Robby Ashford,
who was a big reason why they were so good at running with 710 rushing yards from the quarterback position.
Well, here's where it gets tricky. The portal. Oh man. Take a sip. This is where you take a sip of whiskey, because they lost quarterback TJ Finley, formerly of LSU, who's now at Texas State. They're just handing out these passes left and right. He'll be at Utah State next year.
Mm-hmm.
Colby Smith, offensive tackle, headed out to Troy. Landon King is at Utah with the Utes. Dylan Brooks, defensive end, is now with the Kansas Jayhawks. Craig McDonald, safety, formerly of Iowa State, but he was at Auburn last year, and now he's at Minnesota. So you figure that out. Jeffrey Mba, defensive lineman's at Purdue. Desmond Tisdale, linebacker, went to Florida Atlantic, and Tom Herman. Tarvarish Dawson, a wide receiver, joined Dion at Colorado. He says, "We coming." Daslin Worsham is a wide receiver that headed out to UAB, and Trent Dilfer. This one actually was probably their biggest loss, and Keandre Jones, the offensive lineman, jumped over to Florida State with Mike Norvell. They lost Zach Calzada, who, believe it or not, was undefeated as a starter against Alabama when he knocked him off at Texas A&M just 2 years ago. He transferred out to Incarnate Word in the FCS. JJ Evans, a wide receiver, went to North Bama. Xavion Capers, another wideout, went to Western Kentucky. And Armani Diamond headed to a corner went to Trent Dilfer in UAB as well. Here's what they brought in. I'm an East Carolina fan, as you guys well know, and Auburn fans, you know, we have a long history of giving you some of our better stuff, just like Pat Dye. Avery Jones, our best offensive lineman, headed out to Auburn. Gunnar Britton, another offensive lineman from Western Kentucky, joins War Eagle. Rivaldo Fairweather, Patty. See, this was a stud tight end at Florida International last year.
Nice.
Big time get for them. Nick Mardner, a wide receiver from Cincinnati, who I knew not only from Cincinnati but from Nick Rolovich days at Hawaii. Defensive end Elijah McAllister from Vanderbilt. He was a very good player on Vanderbilt last year. That's a big get. Dylan Wade was a huge get from Tulsa at offensive tackle. He's got an NFL future. Lawrence Johnson, a defensive lineman from Purdue. So it's like they traded defensive players. Johnson's definitely better. Purdue's getting the wrong side of that one. Shane Hooks, a wide receiver from Jackson State with Dion. He says, I'm not going to follow Dion. Let me just go to Auburn. A linebacker, Messiah Nasili Kite from Maryland. Defensive lineman Justin Rogers from Kentucky comes into the mix. Austin Keys, a linebacker from Ole Miss. It's pretty disgusting to go to Ole Miss to Auburn.
Unacceptable.
Linebacker Demario Tolan, pretty disgusting as he goes from LSU to Auburn. I think he's going to start though. Running back Brian Battle. This guy was a beast at South Florida. Yeah. He is coming to Auburn. That is a great get.
He's bringing all 1,100 plus rushing yards with him from last year.
Yeah, Jaden Muskrat, great name. Another offensive lineman from Tulsa, making the trip, obviously following his old coach Philip Montgomery to Auburn, Alabama. Defensive end Steven Sings from Liberty, the Flaming Libs, following Hugh Freeze, his former coach, to his, I guess his current coach still, to Auburn. Wide receiver Caleb Burton from Ohio State comes over to Auburn.
Not to be mistaken for Jermaine Burton. Those Burton receivers do transfer around a lot. They do
transfer around. Jalen McLeod, linebacker from Appalachian State, transferred in. Jair Shorter, a wide receiver from North Texas with the Mean Green, transferred in. Larry Nixon, the third, a linebacker from North Texas, transferred in. And then the most recent one, Payton Thorne, the quarterback from Michigan State, who started for the Spartans for the past 2 years, transfers in. And that one's big because that was shocking that he left Michigan State. And
yeah. I mean, adds great variety to their quarterback room.
So I'm trying to look at this offense, which is incredibly hard to do these days. But I imagine Payton Thorne's going to be the starter. Ashford might come in and give him some dual threat action, right? Maybe if it's a 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, you go.
It's got to be tough on Ashford after getting plenty of burn last year to just take a back seat. But when you're completing 49% of your passes. I mean, his stats.
He's young.
Yeah.
But so I'm assuming it's Thorne with Battle as the running back. And then their wide receivers. I'm taking a guess. I'm assuming it's Caleb Burton because Ohio State has such deep wideouts. And mixed in, I have no idea who gets to start. Maybe it's Mardner. He started at a Cincinnati was a pretty good school. I don't know. I think maybe that he might be the third wideout. I watched the spring game for Auburn. You couldn't take anything away from the spring game because it was in the middle of like a monsoon. So it's like I got no idea what we learned there.
Various Johnson 26 catches last year. He'll probably be a contributor.
So there's that. But then you have the offensive line. I think is clearly going to be better with getting Avery, even though they lost the kid to Florida State. Getting Avery Jones, getting Dylan Wade. Now I don't know about the other kid from Tulsa Muskrat, but those two I think are big upgrades. And then Gunnar Britton from Western Kentucky. We'll see how he does against SEC competition. We still got to talk about the defense, but what do you make of the offense? I just believe in Hugh Freeze. It's hard to gauge. We over the years we've been doing this. Normally you see 7, 5, 6, 9. This is kind of like the Deion Sanders thing at Colorado, where it's like, I got no idea who's going to be starting in some of these positions. I know we can read the magazines. I can read this thing. I don't think anyone knows until that first ball is kicked off. I don't think anybody knows. So
yeah, a lot of production to replace, obviously, with Bigsby out the door. We'll see. I guess they're projecting Jarquez Hunter. He had a decent amount of production, 668 rushing yards, 224 passing yards. But is Battle going to battle him for the starting spot?
Battle's going to battle him, buddy. And I don't know, man. I think this offense will be fine, though.
Yeah, it sounds like, Payton Thorne, great stats.
That was a huge get. I actually had way more concerns, and I know Payton Thorne.
Yeah.
They'll say, Well, he was in a competition for a battle at Michigan State. I don't believe that was the case. I think Michigan State did not like to see him leave. I think that Auburn offered more money. I had a lot of concerns before Payton Thorne because I was like, man, they're going to be too one-dimensional.
Yeah. He opens that up. I mean, you take last year, almost 63% completion percentage, 2 touchdowns to 1 interception ratio. Those are, and you give him Hugh Freeze instead of the Michigan State situation. All of a sudden he might look like an elite quarterback, you know?
So, I mean, I guess there's questions at wide receiver. There's questions at offensive line. Is that sustainable to have an AAC? Like those guys come from the group of 5. Will that be sustainable in the SEC?
It's so hard to be able to understand how the transfer portal impacts the versus like the recruiting rankings, the composite, like any numerical like representation of the talent on the team is now kind of muddled. It's very hard to tell.
It is very hard to tell.
Assuming though that Auburn has a good scouting department, I feel like they're going to be a pretty talented team.
Well, defensively, the new DC is Ron Roberts. Ron Roberts, California guy, I think he was raised in California, right? But he was all over. I mean, he played at UT Martin. He most recently was with Dave Aranda at Baylor as the defensive coordinator. Prior to that, he was at Louisiana. I think that might have been one of the Billy Napier years. And then prior to that, he was the head coach at Southeast Louisiana, the Lions. Before that, he was at Delta State. The guy's been in the coaching game since 1990. So, I think that's the coaching, the staff that he's put together, I think is pretty solid. Now the question is the roster there yet? Now the defense, like I said, you have so much transfers.
Those aren't
well.
Superstar names for the coaching ranks, but you think he did a good job.
Oh, I think Philip Montgomery is a very good coach. I don't think he should have been fired.
Yeah.
I think he should still be at Tulsa personally. And Ron Roberts, as a head coach, was very successful in the FCS and he just dipped out. It's like, you know what? I'm tired of this game. Now they bring back two or three on the defensive line led by Jason Jones and Marcus Harris. That's okay. That's pretty good. But, and I know they got Celtic Falk, the defensive lineman that originally committed to Florida State to come on over. Linebacker, I think they're only returning one, I believe, Cam Riley. The secondary though seems to be where you should be excited if you're a Auburn Tiger fan, right? Because they bring back Keontae Scott, who was, I think, a big name to watch on this defense. They also have Zion Puckett, Jalen Simpson, Nehemiah Pritchett, DJ James, all those guys coming back. That's good. But here's the thing: is that scoring defense was 97th last year.
Yeah. If bringing back some guys that weren't that effective last year, is that a good thing? I think it is. I think you want
continuity is always good too.
The top 5 players in terms of breaking up passes are all back, passes defensed. So the secondary is experienced.
And look, 96th rush defense too. 59th in pass defense. So there's that. At least they were a better pass defense.
Well, let me say this. Colby Wooden, 4th round pick, and Derek White, 2nd round pick, on the interior defensive line, both gone.
That's what I circled. Yeah. First thing I circled was like on the line of scrimmage is Auburn there.
And that's usually a place Auburn thrives. They're not.
But that's why they got rid of Harsin though. He wasn't bringing in the guys, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what they say. They're bringing in a new. I mean, overall their defense, by the way, 77th. So a lot of room for improvement. They're bringing in a new kicker, which is always scary, but I feel like they'll be okay probably. And then their punter Oscar Chapman is back. Patty C.
Should I touch on recruiting for 1 sec?
Sure.
I mean, basically the recruiting ranking last year was 21. So a slight slip because prior to that they had been 19 in 2021. And then all the way up at 7 in the 2020 cycle. And if I'm not 11 and prior to that. So their talent composite this year overall, now I'm looking at their conference talent composite has been at the 6th spot for the last 4 cycles. They're routinely behind Georgia, Alabama, LSU, Florida, and A&M. They are where they are. Tennessee is creeping up on them. but they are still ahead of Tennessee in terms of overall talent.
I think Tennessee's NIL collective's pretty darn good.
Got to be pretty scary for Auburn.
If you're coming into Auburn,
I didn't come here to study. I come here to study. Studying sucks. Studying really sucks.
18th overall in terms of talent, but the national composite is hardly what matters, especially when you consider what their out of conference schedules. They should win every game. They're far more talented than every team in their 9-conference slate, but they are still 6th in terms of talent within the conference. So that's a pretty big group of teams to try and overcome to win the conference, let alone the division.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch. And then, obviously they draw Georgia every year, which is, obviously
not fair.
Not a great thing right now. But Hugh Freeze. Now the question is this going to work?
Yeah,
this has got a little like Bobby Petrino to it. You know what I mean? Obviously Hugh Freeze in his history.
The only thing on my mind, Gene, was pussy.
But you know what I mean? Like Hugh Freeze got a little baggage. I like the guy, but
I think Auburn loves a guy that can dial it up because that's what they need to compete with the likes of Alabama and Georgia, is a guy who's a step ahead schematically. And they are obviously willing to take a little baggage. Look, Gus Malzhan dialed it up. Now he was too gimmicky. I don't think Freeze is that gimmicky. I think he's innovative and ahead of the curve, but I don't see him as like a gimmick guy necessarily. Do you?
I don't.
I don't think he's opposed to some fun plays, but he's not Malzahn.
Yeah. So, all right, folks. Well, look, we're gonna get to handicap. If you've seen this graphic here, by the way, shout out to our guy Cameron Kerr, did this graphic. If you're watching on YouTube, youtube.com/the college experience. Like I said, I've been doing this for years. Subscribe over there on YouTube or wherever you listen to the podcast at. But we're gonna go game by game on the schedule. But you see here on the graphic that the win total is at 6.5. Patty, see first reaction 6.5. We just ran through all those national championships that Auburn should have. So that's pretty low, but at the same time, year one of the Freeze experience.
Not to mention that would be an improvement from last year where they went 5-7.
Yeah,
so
experiment is what I meant to say, not experience. But we're on the college experience, so I can get all these things confused. Well, the first thing I want to talk about is obviously there's all this talk about the 8-9 game schedule when they go to 16 teams. I think it should be 9, but the non-con schedule here. Hilarious.
Yeah. Hilarious in a synonym there is pathetic.
They get UMass, Cal. Now, granted, that's at Cal across the country.
That could be tough.
That is a little tricky because I believe Ole Miss and Tennessee went to Cal and took losses the last time they went. I've made this case before on this show. One of the underrated stats, obviously SEC, greatest conference in all the world, whatever you want to say. But when they go to the West Coast, a lot of times they catch L's. So LSU, when they went to UCLA, lost. A&M when they went to UCLA, Josh Rosen.
Kobe got kicked out of that game. So we got 86 from the Rose Bowl.
Did get kicked out of the Rose Bowl because they don't have fans. All right, they're used to the wine and cheese crowd. So when someone starts cheering, God forbid you cheer on football. But then I know Mississippi State did win at Arizona last year. Leach got one there, but I believe Tennessee got smacked at Oregon. I think Mississippi State got smacked at Oregon. There is a long history of and that's not only the SEC. I think the ACC gets their ass whooped when they go out to the West too. And
game number 2 of a new, coaching. What would you call that?
Era.
Yeah. It's tough to get it dialed in.
But still, Samford after that, and then you get New Mexico State. The New Mexico State thing is hilarious. Come on, look, I get it. SEC fans are going to listen to this, but can I just bring up this fact, Petty C? So, where am I at here? Auburn has played at Kentucky twice over the past 17 years. New Mexico State will be playing their 3rd time at Auburn in the past. Where am I at here? My schedules are all over the place. I got more windows open than a painter.
The last 5 years.
No, I think it's since like 2010 or something like that. 2010. That's hilarious to me. New Mexico State just put them in the SEC.
Yeah.
All right, but I love their logo. They got the guns shooting.
It's fun, but they don't need to be playing.
You could make an argument.
3 SEC teams every year.
You could make an argument that Auburn's playing 3 FCS teams this year because UMass is I feel like they lose to an FCS team every year.
Yeah,
I know New Mexico State's got Jerry Kill and they're improving.
Yeah, but 1 year improvement after years and years of trash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't just all of a sudden respect New Mexico State.
Yeah.
And then Sanford, I would actually argue that Sanford might, if Sanford's playing UMass, I think I would lay 7 in Sanford. But
all 3 at Jordan-Hare as well. So I mean, those are all wins.
So if your win total 6.5, if they go 4-0 out of conference, all they need to do is win 3 games.
Yeah.
I think the Cal game's a little tricky. Not only is it tricky because I think those trips are always far, and I feel like they're a little underrated as far as
the quality of the program.
Yeah, well, just the effect, not the quality of the program. Cal hasn't been great, but like the effect. History speaks for itself.
Yeah.
I feel like when they go west.
Yeah, we ran numbers on this.
And so I do think it's a trickier game. And another thing is it's a 10:30 kick Eastern. So they're getting them late.
That is late.
Yeah.
Talk about a huge another. I mean, we talked about Utah, Florida being huge for the Pac-12. If Cal could get this win over Auburn, that would be huge for the Pac-12. So Cal wants it. How bad does Auburn want it? It's not like probably a game they're circling on their calendar, but they probably should be.
Well, let's say they go 4-0 non-con.
Yeah.
All right. The week 1 is UMass, week 2 is Cal, week 3 is Sanford. Week 4, they head to College Station, Texas. And this game, I think I circle as one of the biggest games on the schedule because much like, we talked about Hugh Freeze being at Auburn and how crazy that could be potentially. Well, I mean, Jimbo hired DJ Durkin and Bobby Petrino.
Yeah.
Right. They got Steve Adazio, who's got that history when he was back in Florida. I mean, there's potential for a gigantic fireworks show at A&M. So that makes this game hilarious to me. I'm excited to watch this game.
Yeah.
I think it's a pivotal game if you're betting the over on Auburn. Where are you leaning? Obviously, A&M's probably got the talent advantage.
A&M's got a ton more money, and yet they are kind of the same team.
Harsin beat A&M last year, right?
Did he? That's right. They got the win. Toward the end of the year when A&M had supposedly turned it around, Auburn beat them on the in November 13-10. Now, granted, that was at home. This time it's on the road. College Station. I mean, having a home field advantage at Jordan-Hare versus having to go to College Station, big difference there. And I think that is big time in A&M's favor. So I got to lean Aggies here.
All right, I'll go with you with A&M. It's year 1 of Freeze. It's Jimbo's 30th year there. I feel like. Then they have Georgia the next game, obviously. But it's at Jordan-Hare. Magic happens there, man.
Yeah,
magic happens.
And the quarterback situation is still up in the air there. Meanwhile, if Payton Thorne comes in and balls out, then magic can happen. But I seriously doubt that.
So you got them at 3-2 by their bye week on October 7th.
Yeah.
Then they head to Baton Rouge. These games are always wild. To take on Brian Kelly and his family. Man, these games are wild. I got to go LSU though. Auburn fans are going to hate me.
LSU coming off a back-to-back road trip at Ole Miss, at Missouri. Auburn coming off a bye. So maybe Auburn a little more rested and ready to play this game. All that said, I feel like Auburn I think LSU is the play here.
So I agree. 3-3.
Yeah.
Now the revenge game for Hugh Freeze. Ole Miss comes to Jordan-Hare.
Yeah.
Dude, Auburn's winning this.
I'll say they get 1 out of those 4. I don't know which one it's going to be, but I think Auburn's good for 1 out of those 4.
So I got them 4-3. And now comes in another mystery team, just like we said with Auburn being a mystery team.
Yeah.
You have Mike Leach, our friend, rest in peace to Coach Leach. He's not at Mississippi State anymore. Zach Arnett is, and he's not even running the air raid. So I am so confused on what Mississippi State's going to be this year.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give this one to Auburn. I have no idea. I mean, maybe Mississippi State wins this game. I don't know. Maybe they're a lot better than what I realize. I'm going to give this to Auburn.
So what do you got them at? 5-3?
At that point, 5-3. If I'm giving them the Cal game, which I think so. Let's go. Even though I think gun to my head, Cal's probably gonna pull the upset.
Yeah.
They're lucky enough. They're unlucky in the fact they play Georgia every year, but they do get Vanderbilt this year. That's always, you can always rejoice when you see Vanderbilt.
Essentially pencil that one as a W.
I'm giving them that one. That puts them at what?
6.
All we need is one more win.
Yeah, 6-3.
And they're back-to-back away. They go to Arkansas. KJ Jefferson's still there. Sam Pulled Pork Pittman, but Kendall Briles is gone. I know he brought in Dan Enos, who used to be with Nick Saban in Alabama. But Barry Odom's gone on the defensive side of things. I think if I have to, but by November 11th, I think Freeze will have this team going. So I kind of think it's a 50-50 game.
Yeah.
I think I lean Arkansas coming into the season because of the continuity, but I could buy into Auburn hitting on
Arkansas.
Yeah.
In Fayetteville.
Nah, give me Arkansas. I agree. So that puts them out at what?
That's going to be a great game though.
We're 10 games in.
And we have them at, I believe 5-5. No, 6-4.
6-4. Then they get New Mexico State 7-4. And then they get the Alabama Crimson Tide. And we should talk about this Alabama game for a second because there were some chinks in the armor last year.
Yeah.
I know they still had a great year. Alabama did, but they almost lost to Texas A&M, who was not good. I think they won like 4 or 5 games last year, right?
Yeah.
I think they should have lost to Texas. I thought the refs completely botched that. And I hate Texas. That takes a lot of skill for me to say that right there. But they did also lose to Tennessee on a game where they probably should have won.
Yeah,
right. Maybe. It was a crazy game, and then they lost to LSU in a wild game on a 2-point conversion.
Well, the game against Tennessee, they got down and then they flexed, but they were just. I mean, they even came back and got the lead.
So I'm saying they had the lead.
They just gave it up at the end.
Questionable.
But when they wanted to flex on Tennessee, they did.
But my point is that, and then when you add in the fact, remember Pat Dye wanted the Iron Bowl to be in Auburn, Alabama. They want, instead of this neutral site in Birmingham back in 1989, Pat Dye gets it going. And since they've played games, but prior to that, they had never played at Auburn, at Jordan-Hare. They've had good success with 10-6 in games in Auburn, Alabama against Alabama. And that's been through a slew of different coaches, whether it's Dye, whether it's Bowden, whether it's Tuberville, whether it's Malzhan and Harsin did not get it done, but
they're always in striking distance, usually with either getting a W, like you said, 10-6 at home since all time.
Well, then you add in the fact Freeze has had success against Saban, and you think,
yeah, what did he?
I'm buying in.
Didn't he beat Saban and while they were like
times,
top 3? Like
I think he won in Tuscaloosa once, right?
He won in Tuscaloosa and he won at home. I think back-to-back years.
Yeah,
some freaking amazing games. College game day.
Now, granted, that was a few years into him being at Ole Miss, where he had Laquan Treadwell and all these other guys. But I'm buying in. Give me the over on Auburn
on the year. Yeah, I think they get to 7.
Here's my prediction. I actually think they're probably going to lose that Cal game, right?
Yeah.
And they're gonna either upset Alabama or they're gonna upset Arkansas, and that's gonna put them at 7-5.
Yeah, or they could get A&M. They'll clip one of those teams.
Yeah.
Right now we got over. We got them between A&M, Georgia, LSU, Ole Miss, Arkansas, and Bama. We got to wait. How many games is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games. We got them going 1-5. I think they probably get to 2-4 out of that.
Yeah, I think the over is going to cash here, and I don't even think like. Can you imagine a scenario where, like, let's say they beat A&M and they open up 4-0. They lose to Georgia, but that's Georgia.
Yeah,
they get a bye week, and at LSU, like those games are always crazy.
Yeah,
I feel like that's like a 3-point game, so anything can happen there. Yeah. Let them steal that, then you're really looking good all the way to Bama.
Yeah, I mean, well, let's take a look at Auburn's history as a program. Sure, they've had a couple 3 straight years without any more than 6 wins, but prior to that, it was 8, 10, 8, 9. So if Freeze gives them the little juice to get up to their talent level and play up to their talent level and maybe even above it, then they are an 8, 9, 10 win team again. You know, it might not be this year, but I think they're going to trend in that direction this year. So I think you should be hopeful that they A, hit the over, and then B, they're going places.
Yeah, definitely get them to a bowl game, and then who knows? I mean, the SEC, if they can somehow steal that A&M game,
yeah, that'd be huge.
That opens things up because I think a lot of times you see this with first year coaches. Like the first 6 weeks are always a struggle, and then they kind of figure it out post Halloween.
They get a win, and the players finally buy in.
Yeah,
and then let me ask you this: 4-1 going into that bye with LSU on deck, and LSU coming off the back-to-back road. That could be the biggest game of the season. You're right. A&M, and then if they can get LSU, holy crap!
Besides, obviously the Iron for Auburn fans, it's the Iron Bowl.
Right.
But let Freeze get the best of Saban there.
Yeah, all bets are off. They go 6-6.
Yeah,
but if he gets,
I gotta get down there.
That'd be fun.
What's that?
I was gonna say. I don't know. Is
Auburn's running back you, right?
I feel like Auburn and
Georgia. Is it Georgia or is it Auburn?
They're the same school. Let's be honest. I'm sure Auburn.
No, Auburn's got more national championships than Georgia recently.
Got them. Do they? No, I don't.
No, that I'm claiming.
Okay.
All you need is a publication to claim it.
Yeah.
2004, they're champions in my mind. Give them the natty.
Facts.
Come on, man. What's going on? How did they not get it in 04? I don't understand. Folks, look, before we get to we got one more segment. We got Michael Barker, who you should be following on Twitter. Some people know him as College Football Campus Tour. I got a little interview I want to play for you of me and him. He's been to all the teams in the land's home stadium. So with that being said, here's that. Here we are on the College Football Experience talking Auburn Tiger 2023 football here. And look, I got to admit, I have never been to this stadium, and I'm excited to have this guy on to tell me about it, because this guy, if you are a college football fan, if you're an Auburn fan, I don't even care any type of, if you're the enemy listening to this podcast, trying to find out information about the Auburn Tigers, and you love college football, you got to follow this guy on Twitter at CFB Campus Tour. Honestly, one of the best pages. I highly recommend it. He goes to he's been to every single FBS school. All right. The games. He's been to every game, 133 teams. He's also been to a ton of FCS games. There's a lot of the weeks I feel like he's at 5-6 games a week. I give you Michael Barker. How you doing today, Michael?
I'm great. I'm great to be here. We're talking about one of the best stadiums in the SEC. So I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah, Jordan-Hare Stadium. I've seen. I remember watching a documentary where it was a bunch of people from England explaining to England why America loves college football, and they're showing these passionate fans, with the pom-poms in the crowd. They're showing the eagle land on the guy's arm pregame ritual, I guess. There, I need to go experience that, because after watching that documentary, I was like, man, I am sold on this. How was your experience at Jordan-Hare?
It was great. And just to branch off what you're talking about for British fans, 6 of the 8 largest football stadiums in the world are college football stadiums in America. So it's hard for people across the pond to conceive what we do over here. And it's something that it's hard to explain, let alone in America to them. So I completely understand it. Jordan-Hare opened in 1939. It had only 15,000 seats. Now it's 87,000 seats. I went to a game in 2020. It was a COVID year, reduced capacity, but it still didn't take away from the experience. Just being in a historic stadium like that, outside the stadium, they have statues of their 3 Heisman winners, Pat Sullivan, Bo Jackson, Cam Newton. And the results of the game I went to was 30-17. Auburn beat Tennessee, Smoke Monday, clinched the game with a 100-yard interception return for a touchdown. So I do want to go back for a full capacity, possibly an Iron Bowl game, but I did get one under my belt.
There you go. That's all that matters. I get it. It's probably better full capacity, but still, to get there, experience it. I need to get to Jordan-Hare, as that stadium, obviously I know, legendary stadium. Now, they didn't always play there though, correct?
Well, they played there, but their rivalry game with Alabama, they played mostly at Legion Field. It was the preference of Bear Bryant for a long time. Jordan-Hare started out with 15,000 seats. It took a long time for them to get to 70,000. It was by 1980. When Pat Dye took over, he was very adamant about getting the Iron Bowl on campus. They had a contract with Legion Field until 1988. And Pat Dye said, in 1989, we're playing on campus at Auburn. He was correct. And now every odd year since 1989, they play the game at Jordan-Hare.
I love it. Absolutely love it. It took a long time, little brother, for it to, Auburn to get it together. Pat Dye, I'm an ECU guy. He used to coach at ECU before he went to Auburn. I love this story. And obviously, he had success when he went to Auburn, and then Terry Bowden had success, and then so on and so on and so on, where they're kind of like, I would say, some would say they're a blue blood. Do you think, Auburn could probably fits in that mix? I know that, they're in a transitional phase right now, going from Brian Harsin to Hugh Freeze, but either way, I feel like going to a game at Jordan-Hare is on my bucket list for college football.
Well, it's, for one thing, even recently they've been a thorn in the side of Alabama. We know about Kick Six. It was in 2013, and Alabama's had years where they've been undefeated, and the Iron Bowl will either put them in the SEC championship or knock them out. We remember the year where Auburn knocked them off and then won the SEC championship and almost got into the playoffs. So historically, the Auburn program has been very good. The last couple of years, they've hit some rough spots, but we know how they recruit. We know the facilities they have, and hopefully they can get some momentum with Coach Freeze.
There we go, folks. I got to get down there to the Jordan-Hare. Michael, I appreciate you coming on and talking about Jordan-Hare and the rich history of Auburn football there at Jordan-Hare. Folks, make sure you, like I said, give him a follow on Twitter at CFB Campus Tour. Michael does great work. He posts like the photo of the game, for each game he goes to, and he goes to so many games. It's almost unbelievable. Like one day he's in Seattle, Washington, that morning, I feel like, and then at night he'll be in Knoxville, Tennessee, or vice versa. He does great work. You got to give him a follow. Michael, appreciate you coming on and talking a little Auburn Tiger football with us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Colby.
There we go. Jordan-Hare, Patty C. Look, Patty C, I know we got to get out of here, but if I gave you endless money and a jet, Jordan-Hare would be top 10 stadiums you would go to?
Pretty high on the list.
Pretty high. Let's go.
I think we ranked top SEC stadiums a while back, and I think we had it maybe 2 behind LSU.
Wow.
I think we had it pretty high.
I've been to Baton Rouge, so that's the advantage that
I know
have.
that,
been to Tiger Stadium.
What's that?
I've been to Tiger Stadium.
I mean, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
But I think Sanford Field at Georgia is pretty high up there. And I think Bryant Denny is, despite being a palace, doesn't have like quite the environment that Auburn does.
Wow,
I think
I like this. Auburn fans are liking you more and more, folks. Smash that over. And yeah, I got to get to a game there too. We got to plan this thing out, folks. Subscribe to the College Football Experience because, well, we've been doing this for years. And guess what? You know what we do every June, July, and August? We preview every single FBS team. Yes, this is on the journey to 133. So subscribe. Maybe you're not an Auburn fan. Maybe you're an Auburn fan, but you also you grew up in Alabama, but you love Western Kentucky. Well, don't worry, we got you covered. So subscribe to the College Football Experience. Also, Samford fans might be listening, trying to get some intel on the Auburn Tigers. Subscribe to the FCS College Football Experience. We got it all, folks. So check us out. We're also on YouTube. YouTube.com/the college experience. Subscribe over there. Hop on over to iTunes. Give us a 5-star review if you can, even if you think I'm a bozo. All right, please hop on over there, and we'd appreciate that. And look, give Patty C a follow on Twitter at Patty C831. I'm on Twitter at the Colby D. NC Nick, who is a closet Auburn fan, is not with us on this episode, but NC__NICK. Give him a follow. The College Football Experience is on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. The SGPN app is free to download in the App Store and Google Play Store. We do a ton of free contests. Right now, NBA, NHL going on. We got contests for that, where we're giving away free cash. College football is getting closer and closer. We got more contests for that. We got you covered. College baseball. Noah Beanick doing great work with the College Baseball Experience. Go check out that, and the College Basketball Experience. Bruce Pearl. He's got the Auburn. He's got life really going with the program. I mean, I feel like Auburn basketball hadn't been that good since I can remember.
Barkley.
Yeah, I mean, it probably even better. I don't know, but yeah. So the college basketball experience. I'm hosting that show as well. We talk college hoops year round over there. Subscribe to that as well. And I had a sound drop, but I can't find it right now. Bruce Pearl. But either way, folks, do that. Subscribe. And until the next episode, keep on rocking because we're just in the letter A right now. We go alphabetically. Okay. Until next time, folks, this is the college football experience. You better start thinking about yours, and we out of here.
X marks the spot. X marks the crossroads. 2 straight